The Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Are you looking to value your equipment more accurately, target the right buyers and close more deals, reach your ideal customer? Then look no further. Fusable isn't just about ag data, it's about action. Our best-in-class solution empowers you to value your equipment accurately, make informed decisions, and find the perfect prospects. Ignite your dealership's growth at fusable.com/movingiron-podcast. Out in the field, every decision counts. You wouldn't plant without testing your soil, so why would you prospect blind? Introducing EDA, your one-stop shop for ag equipment intel. EDA goes beyond specs and prices. You get deep dive data on every piece of equipment like UCC filings that help track ownership changes and uncover potential sales leads. D&B firmographics, which help you understand the financial health and buying power of potential customers. Market trends that help you stay ahead of the curve, and insights on equipment demands and pricings. With EDA, you're not just looking at data, you're seeing opportunity. Find the right buyer, sell smarter, and build lasting relationships. Visit edadata.com for your free demo and unlock the power of knowledge. For over 80 years, Iron Solutions has been your go-to data source for ag dealers, lenders, and manufacturers. Get powerful appraisal and value forecasting tools that fuel profitable decisions anytime, anywhere. Get your free demo at ironsolutions.com. Iron Solutions, confidence in every click. Today, there are many ways to finance ag equipment, but nobody delivers simple, fast, or flexible financing like AgDirect. Learn more about your options to buy, lease, and refinance equipment at agdirect.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours.
When you partner with Axon, you immediately gain access to a full range of products and solutions designed to meet the complex needs of today's grower. We carry all major brands and sizes of tires and wheels. We specialize in large diameter wheels for large equipment. We have one of the largest OEM replacement wheel inventories in North America. Known for extreme flotation setups, duals, and triples, we have wheels for all makes and models of tractors, sprayers, combines, and grain carts. If we don't have the wheel in stock, we'll custom build, sandblast, and paint in-house. There isn't a more vast inventory in North America dedicated to helping dealers move more iron. With facilities on the West Coast and in the heart of the Midwest, leverage our 230,000 square feet of indoor inventory to solve any problem a grower may have. Move more iron with Axon.
At Big Iron Auctions, customer satisfaction is our #1 goal. As the 40-year leader in auctions for agriculture, real estate, livestock, construction, and transportation, we are here to serve you. Big Iron will handle everything from start to finish. From meeting with you, to prepping your equipment, writing the listings, and collecting buyer's payments, let us do the heavy lifting for you. We love our customers, and we treat them like family. There's a Big Iron sales rep in your area, so let's get together. To learn more, visit bigiron.com.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.
Once again, it's time for the Machine Shed. I respect what you've done in the combine world.
But when you step in this ring, you're messing with
Thayer and Fennel.
And that's something you don't do.
Yeah, you're on a different planet now.
You got your eyes locked on the world's most combine selling son of a...
Now I can't help it that I'm custom made. I can't help it that I look good, smell good, woo, can dance all night long. I can't help it.
The Nature Boy. Woo! Last year, Aaron Fiddle spent more money on spilt high guard in fields all over Box Butte County than you made. I'm talking about the cinch shirt wearing, sheep raising, kiss still, woo, combine dealing, diesel driving, hay cutting, son of a gun. He's having a hard time keeping his ostrich boots on the ground. Woo!
Hey, what's rule number one? What's rule number one?
Party.
No, not party. No, it's not party.
All right, we're back here at the Machine Shed. I got Aaron Finnell back here with us, and it has been a
hello world.
A wild weekend of football last week. We got championship weekend coming up here, and I mean that Georgia game was something. I started watching that. I watched that whole thing all the way through, smoking cigars and drinking whiskey out on my patio, watching it outside, and it was I there for a while was just like, yeah, this isn't going to work out in Georgia's favor, but it just kept coming back, and that just tells you the power of what rivalry games do to a team, right? It can be the worst team on the planet, and they could be 1-10 and show up and beat the undefeated hunt for the national title team because they're their rival. It's just those rivalry games are just a different breed of football game.
It's kicked up a notch.
We're
13.
Because when I was watching like Ohio State and Michigan, I was like, well, Michigan's going to drop that streak this year. And boy, if they didn't come out and play the single best football game they've played in 10 years.
Pre-tear gas. Before the tear gas at the end.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. There was some people that got kind of fired up.
What is with the field storming?
I don't know.
Like number 7 beats number 4 and they storm the field now.
It's just a thing. You get to post it on your Facebook feed. That shows you how old I am.
I did see after everybody's little weekend of planting flags and whatnot that will be no more.
Yeah, I was figured that would be.
You knew that was coming, dude. After this weekend and all the fights and shit.
Yeah.
Oof.
Well, like one of the announcers put it, and I tend to agree with this a lot. It's like if you don't want someone to plant a field and you're plant a flag in your field, just beat them. It's pretty simple. You know what I mean? And it's a rivalry game, and if roles were flipped and they were at the big house and Ohio State had won, and they would have tried to plant theirs in the middle of that one too. So I mean, it would have
worked better because Michigan has real grass.
It's real grass, so it would actually stuck in there. So it'd have been nice.
Kind of like when Baker tried to plant the flag at Ohio Stadium.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, it's turf. I need more black beads.
That sure is black dirt. No, wait, that's not dirt. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be funny to watch that.
Just so you know, talking about the announcers that say that, those are the announcers that played the game. The color man, the guy who does all the talking, you know, all 5'8", 130 of him, who has a journalism degree.
Yeah.
That guy's always, that's uncalled for. Sportsmanship really out the window here today.
That's Bob Costas. That's who that is. You know?
Yes. I was thinking of that dude on ABC. What's Sean McDonough? That little bald guy that kind of sounds almost like Eli Gold.
That's disappointing right there. That is just taking so much away from. That's not actually any taken away from anything. They probably just got 10 recruits that were going to go to Ohio State because of that.
True. They just jumped their NIL coffers $5 million today.
Yeah, because every boost, and I was like, just right, it's our field. There's another $1 million.
Exactly.
That's just uncalled for. It's a sad day in college football. Like, no, it's not. Nothing sad about this. It's been going on for decades, and it's not going to stop.
And you know what? It's interesting to see it that way in the world of transfer portal, and nobody stays anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
Because when you have that, I've been here for 4 or 5 years, and I fucking hate that school with everything inside of me. That is what usually makes those so good. Now you got like, well, I played for them last year. Screw that. It's like a whole different world, yet it's still carrying the water because that is so deep.
Yeah. Yep. So we had the 12 team bracket rollout. Remember that? It was the let me get that pulled up here. NCAA.
Second to last one. Final draft.
They'll update it after championship weekend, but they rolled it out and what it looks like. And you look at our website right now, the number 1 seed, Oregon, and the number 2 seed is Texas. Number 4 seed is Boise State. And then you got the number 3 seed, it's SMU. So I don't know why I jumped over SMU when I was doing that, but 1, 2, and 3, that's your buys. And if you look who they are, you had the number 3 seed was in the American Conference last year. The number 4 seed still in the Mountain West. And Oregon was a Pac-12 team last year, and they are a Big 10 team this year. And then you had a Big 12 team that's Texas that's playing for the SEC championship this year. So you start running through there now. Obviously, there's all kinds of shoulda, woulda, couldas, and
who's in the Big 12 championship just for shits and giggles, even though the playoff committee hates the Big 12?
Arizona State and Colorado,
Big 12 team.
Yep. Who's playing with them? Is it Colorado?
ISU. No.
ISU.
Because Colorado got off the bus in Lawrence and forgot to play the game.
Yeah, that's right, because they were coming, and KU said, yes, we are.
We don't throw the ball, just so you know.
Yeah, that was a bad one. That was a really bad one. The thing about this that really bugs me more than anything is how they go through and pick it. Yeah, okay, they've had more wins against top 25 teams, and they had more wins against top 15 teams, and more wins against top 10, top 5, so on and so forth, all the way down the line.
Right.
But how does Miami go from number 6 on the depth chart to doesn't even get a shot at the title?
I know. Because it's brand bias, man.
Oh, very much so.
That playoff exists for 2 conferences. And you hear up until the SEC started devouring itself in the beginning of November, everybody arguing, well, legitimately the SEC could have 6 teams in the playoff. Well, then it ain't a playoff anymore.
Right. Yeah, I think the only way you ever make the playoff thing work is you take, and I counted them one day, but I want to say there's around 16 conferences. Division I conferences.
There's that in football. There's that many.
Yeah, I think if I counted them right, I think there are.
Because you got Sun Belt, American, MAC.
Yeah, Mountain West,
Conference USA,
and then you
Mountain West, Power 4.
Start running through them all like that, and then basically you have to have a 16-team playoff, and you got to win your conference.
There you go.
And if you win your conference, you're in. Of course, they're going to say, well, you can't say that XYZ conference is reserved, it has a right to have a conference champion in there because this conference over here has got teams, 6 of their 85 teams are ranked in the top, 10 or whatever. I'm like, well, yeah, it's just, you got to win your conference. I think that's the only way you could ever do it. Of course, there'll be a million people that be, oh, no, because you got X, Y, and Z, and they played this many teams, and they did that, and they did this, and okay, well, great. So it's before too long.
How do they do FCS? That's not a committee. It's based on off their rankings.
Off their rankings, and that's just it. Where they're ranked. When and I'm sure there's some political bullshit there too, but there's I watched it. I watched Montana State and Tennessee State play in the first round. Eddie George, yeah, I didn't realize he coached there.
Yeah,
and I was watching that, and
Bobcats rolled them, didn't they?
They thumped them pretty good, but to their credit, like the year before that, they'd won 3 games, and this year they'd won 8 or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But,
yeah, they're not the same caliber as the Montana and Dakota teams. I do know that.
Whoever won that game was playing South Dakota State, if I remember correctly.
Welcome to the rabbit hole.
That's right, Jackrabbits.
That's what they should call their stadium, the rabbit hole. Now you're down the rabbit hole.
But the thing about this, now that you see these the way things are ranked in here now, SMU's in the ACC.
Yep.
Right? Boise State's still in the Mountain West.
No, they're a Pac-12 school next year. But remember, because the Pac-12 absorbed every state school in the Intermountain West. Colorado State, Boise State, Utah State.
Right.
Who else state? Another state. Oregon State, Washington State.
So they're gonna move over. State. So to be honest with you, the reason I think that Boise State got where they were is because of what they're doing next year, not because of what they're doing this year.
Yeah, but see, the whole thing is it's yet to be. They're not. The Pac-12 is going to exist again, but they're not a power. They're a group of 5 now.
Right. So this is getting the point I'm making here is that you're getting, so they go from the Mountain West to the Pac-12, which from a brand recognition thing, the Pac-12 stands out more than the Mountain West does, right?
Mm.
But if you historically,
historically, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, in power, no. I don't know why those schools are doing that, because the Pac-12 doesn't even have. They have like a CW streaming contract. Is it?
Right. Right. So we're getting to the
Mountain
point
West is at least on CBS Sports Network at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, you get the late game. You get the late game out there.
Late game.
Because they get, you get.
What time's kickoff? I think at 3 a.m. It's at Hawaii and it's at noon.
Well, that's right. You get that Hawaii game.
Honolulu.
That's why that game comes on so late, because it's 11 o'clock in the 9:30, 10 o'clock at night when they kick off, because it's only 3:30 in the afternoon in Hawaii. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's really what he came down to saying there, because SMU is a school that is, if they were still in the American, they would have, even if they were 11-0 right now,
wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't matter. There would be nowhere near, because they didn't play the number of, toughest team they played was Army.
Well, and the thing is, BYU only has 1 loss, but it's to number 1 by 3 points.
Right.
So that's their loss is better than they would put value in most group of 5 wins.
Right. Yep. And it's a struggle right now.
And here's the thing: Texas is going to win the SEC, and if they're in the Big 12, they would have lost either Kansas or Kansas State, because that's how it works. Same with Oklahoma. Oklahoma wouldn't be 6-6; they'd be 9-3, 10-2. But have lost to Kansas or Kansas. No, Oklahoma would have lost to Kansas State, because that's their annual tradition.
Right, yeah. Yep.
Don't punt. Oh, goodness, now we lost. Is that the 15th generation of Lockett? Yes, it is. Tyler Lockett's great-great-grandson.
Yeah. They have quite a bit of things kind of cooking in there. But this is no different than when they had the first football championship series back in whatever it was, 97 or 98 or whenever that was, right? And
the BCS.
The BCS, there it is, yep. BCS deal was supposed to solve the world's problems, and because K-State wasn't cool when they were ranked number 2 in the nation and they lost, they went from 2 to I forget who they are again, and that's all of a sudden like they just fell off the face. But
they went from 2 to 11.
Yeah.
Now they did lose to like a 7-4 A&M team. So
yeah, but championship game though, man. I mean, I'm saying like those are all.
I know, but you got to remember back then that championship game held more water to some people than the entire season. And now they're like, well, it really doesn't matter if you lose; it shouldn't hurt you. The hell, it shouldn't.
Yeah. They had. I went to that game. St. Louis, and they were just rolling them through the first 3 quarters of the game, and they flashed that
Ugh.
UCLA game because UCLA, like, there was like 4 things had to happen. It was some kind of crazy,
They all
like
did.
everything happened. And I'm like, holy crap, they're going to make it. And then as soon as I saw the guys high fiving on the sideline, I'm like, probably better tighten that up, fellas. You still got a quarter and a half to go. You know,
Damn it, Bill.
and it was
So close.
so close.
So close.
So close, but it was a good strategic thing. But then they went and played Purdue, and Drew Brees threw for like 9,000 yards in that game, and lit them up in the Animal Bowl. So
See, K-State is better as the not favored. We don't expect anything from you team. Like when an undefeated Oklahoma met them in Arrowhead for the Big 12 championship, and little Darren Sproles had like 9,000 yards rushing, and Jason White stood there and went, "I don't know what to do with my hands."
he did
at the tender young age of 37.
his 10th career start as his 10th season.
I need another medical red shirt. They age you out at 40, man. I don't know what to tell you.
We can't keep doing this. So
you're going to have to go to NFL Europe at some point.
Yeah. Canadian League's still available, so.
Oh, God, no. You got to be able to move as a quarterback up there.
All right. Let's jump over and talk a little bit about long story short is the politics in football, because of the amount of money that's in Division I football, is always going to be there. And there's always going to be big strokes. And not everyone, it's not always going to be there. I mean, for Alabama to step there and say our 3 losses are better than your your 1 is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yep.
So
basically, long and short of it is, for the first 15 minutes of the podcast, FSEC. That's it. That's 4 initials for you.
If you look at everything that's on that list, though, I was doing it the other day where I was just kind of running through, looking at it. So you've got Big 10, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, Notre Dame. Are they still independent?
Yep.
SEC, SEC. I feel like Indiana got screwed.
Yep.
A lot. Just because they're Indiana, they have to try harder.
Imagine a world where Ohio State now loses the Big 12 championship, which they will, to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And Ohio State is a 3-loss team that misses the playoff.
No, it's Penn State. They're playing Penn State.
Oh, yeah, Penn State.
Yep.
Oregon and Penn State, right.
Yep.
So, damn it. I was trying to put up a scenario where Ryan Day is a fired head coach for losing 5 games in like 6 years.
Well, I think he probably will lose 4 games against
know.
Ohio State. You know what I mean?
That's the dumbest shit.
They flashed that thing up there. He's like 42-1 against everybody else, and he's 0-4 against Michigan. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You can win everything you want, but you got to win those 4 games to keep your job. So,
yep, exactly. See them national champ. We went to the playoff 3 times.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. We got to beat Michigan, man.
Yeah.
Excuse me, as they call it, that team up north.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Let's talk a little equipment business now.
Farm machinery.
So
the other part of the heart.
That's right. I think when you look at the end of the year time frame, right? So it's always everyone's kind of trying to shake out, what the accountant said, I need to do this to forego my, paying taxes thing, right? So
correct.
I think one of the things that I've found some guys that were in the market to do various things with their machinery. I think when you look at the guy that's the enroll guy's the enroll guy, they get, they have their thing set up, right? Sometimes on the guys, the generational trade-ins that come in, the first generation trades that come in, there's some people do have some stuff set up on that, hey, I'm going to run this combine for 2 years, trade it back in, and then boom, here's what we do. I think where you get some stickiness as far as making things happen like they're supposed to happen is those guys that have the that 7 to 10-year-old tractor that's got those 5,000 to 7,000 hours.
Yep.
And they're looking at their machine going like, there's nothing really wrong with my machine right now, but I really think I need to take my 5,000 hours down to 3 or 2,500 or my 7,000 down to 4 or something like that.
Yep.
And kind of rolling through that. And I think those are some scenarios where watching that kind of transpire, that there is a lot of things to pay attention to as a buyer. And I guess the stuff that you're doing, that's kind of your meat and potatoes, right? I mean, that's a lot of stuff that you're doing is kind of falls into that range.
Yeah. In fact, the tractor business has been, dare I say, red hot.
Yeah.
But it's only that segment.
Right. Yeah.
Your I'll call it the real bottom of the barrel. Your sub 50, that's, straight to Mexico or whatever. Yeah. You always got water somewhere. Yeah. That stuff is oddly stacking.
Yeah.
Like the junk isn't cheap enough, and we all know the over 400 story.
It kind of feels like to me it's anything that's got a $150,000 or less trade difference.
No, I would say is 250. As long as you're within 250.
Trade difference or just price?
Yeah. Trade difference.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Trade difference. Because you got to think about it, man. You got guys trading 8,000 hour rigs.
Sure.
That's a Gen 1, early Gen 2 8R on a last of what I call the last of the 4-digit, rigs.
Yeah.
And that although it's only a series jump, you can be talking, you got 19s and 11s.
Right.
That's 8-year difference. So there's a lot of that where a 360 is becoming a 370.
Yep. Not
an 8R 370, just because the jump in those two is so big, and guys are staying under that's kind of the roof now.
Yep. And it feels like, so when you go through those, when you kind of walk through that scenario, I always have,
because honestly, I've given guys numbers in the last couple weeks, like what I would say, getting that 19 on a late one, and been, this is where we're at, and that guy still has everybody has that ceiling. You know what I mean? Like the guy that wants that 10-hour used one that is almost brand new price, he still has that. So regardless of what he's trading down here, he could have a 4,000 hour 360, which almost falls into the desired group, but there's still so much gap that that don't work.
Right.
I think the number's super awesome, and it's going to be a layup, and oh God, that won't work. And you're like, whoa, really? And then the next deal, you're like, man, I don't know. Okay, sounds good. Like, okay, what, don't make sense to me as the one doing the deal, but whatever they have already established in here, and keep in mind, nobody's done a damn thing since April. Nobody's even bought a handful of half-inch nuts. Right. God forbid. So they've had a lot of time to really think and decide what exactly they want to do. The other thing that's funny is so much of that, I've had guys calling me on stuff we talked about in May.
Yeah.
In the old days, you write that. If that didn't happen in that first week, that deal's gone.
Yeah, it's not happening. They have nothing to, I think, part of that.
And the unfortunate thing is, there's been a couple times I still got what we talked about.
Yeah. I think the side of that, too, is nobody really understands the marketplace until they start looking at, they want to start doing something.
Right.
And then the shock and awe of like, man, I bought this tractor back in 2020 or whatever, and I paid X for it, and now you're telling me it's worth, I only put 1,000 hours on it over the course of this last 4 years, a couple hundred hours a year, something like that. So now you're telling me that when I bought it at 2,500 hours, I got 3,500 hours or 4,000 hours or something like that on it, that the depreciation is X. It doesn't make any sense to me, And you start going through all that stuff, and some of the guys that were in May talking to you about stuff that were walking away from stuff are now I guess that's the market now. That's kind of where their head's at,
Right.
They've made that decision, and I think that's a lot.
And you got to keep in mind, if that's a 5,000 hour tractor, that might have been a 3,000 hour tractor 4 years ago,
right?
And what do we know about 2020 and used tractor values? Holy shit!
They started to rise.
Yeah. Your scarcity premium is not showing up on the trade end side.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So when you're, I guess if you're taking a look at this and you're really paying attention to what's going on, if you were, as a guy that sells the stuff and as a guy that you have your own little farm too, where you're paying attention to what's going on, like what are the couple things you're going to pay attention to when you're looking at stuff out there right now? If you're a buyer.
As a buyer?
Yeah.
Well, as a buyer, the world is your oyster. So there's that to start with. I personally would I guess for me, if I'm going and buying a 5 to 10 year old tractor right now, I want it to be I can be a little pickier than I could have been. And every dealer out there knows that you can as a buyer. And I think I would look more at, I want every single one of these specs. You can almost do the used buyer order your new machinery right now. You know, where typically we're like, well, yeah, you can get new ones like that, be here in 6 months, you know, that old thing.
Yeah.
The flip side of that is I want an 8R and it has to have this and this and this and this and this. It's out there. It's to be had, and go for it. Like the biggest thing I would tell a buyer right now, do not worry about what the hell the advertised price is. Don't.
Yeah.
Because every dealer's got to have something out there. Every dealer is willing to bend over backwards to move iron. So don't worry about price. Find the machine you want and go for it.
Yeah. No, I think as you look at that,
and if that doesn't work, you have a benchmark to go after option 2, option 3, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think when you're looking at where those machines fall into place at, as you're looking through that, there's a lot of other things that are available to. I mean, of course, you see the low interest rates and that kind of stuff out there too. But another thing I'm seeing to start creep back into some of these advertisements is extended warranty programs that are coming back into it.
Yeah.
So you're seeing a lot more of that stuff too. So there's an opportunity where you can find some low rate financing and some peace of mind when you're out there looking at these machines.
Yep. Yeah.
And you are. So I think right now, as I'm looking at this overarching area that we're in right now, it's this typical market like this happens every time where it used to be when I first started on this, that anything $100,000 or less was when things got tight, that's where things stood, you know? And, you know, well, when I first started, it was like $75,000 and less, and it moved to 100. Now it's anything under 200,000 or 250,000 now. So
right.
It's just amazing how much things move. But
under 3, 3 is a pretty hardcore.
Yeah, that's a delineator.
Stone level.
Yeah, that's definitely a delineator in there. But it's amazing how that keeps moving down the line. But anyway,
did you just say delinear as in a line of delineation?
A delineator. Yeah.
A delineator.
Yeah. So when you're working through that,
okay,
looking at these,
go grab that delineator.
when you're looking at how these buckets kind of form and what those things look like, there's a tractor market between 5 and 7,000 hours, right? 5 and 7,000 hours. There's another tractor bucket between, I'd say, 3,500 hours and 5,000 hours. And then there's another tractor bucket that goes from 1,500, maybe 1,000 to 3,500. Those are, I consider those buckets there to be the price core group of buyers for tractors, right? Yeah. I don't think it's not the 0 to 500 hour stuff, right? Those machines in there, like that group of machines are the guys that are moving back and forth and just are trading hours. they're not necessarily trading dollars, but they're obviously trading dollars, but they're really looking at, hey, I've got to go from 7,000 hours. That's kind of my cutoff. That's kind of where I feel comfortable running the machine to, and I want to take it back down to whatever that number was, and however long you're going to keep that tractor.
Right.
Most of the time, the 7,000 hour guy's going to run something 7,000 hours. They like to have a bit of a longer runway than most guys do, so they're going to buy something probably closer to that 3,500 hours, that 4,000 hours, because they have 3,000 hours to put on a machine, and they might take them 5 years to do that, 6 years to do that. You know what I mean? Whereas the guy that's got 1,500 hours, he's probably coming down from 3,500 to 4,000 hours back down to that 1,000, 1,500 hour deal. And again, it might take him 3 or 4 years to do that, but that same time frame is going to be there.
You know, I've seen some of the what I would call the 10-year jumpers a little more recently. That is honestly probably who is after the 500-hour rigs right now.
Explain what the 10-year jumper is.
Trading 10-year-olds. He buys every 10 years.
Okay, all right.
So he's got the 5+ tractor,
right,
jumping all the way down to 500 because
it's going to take him 500 hours a year type of deal for 10 years type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to run that tractor. It hurts now, but and that's a guy who always puts it on a really long note because it's not going anywhere.
Right.
So we'll pay point more or half a point more, throw it on a 7-year note,
right,
God forbid, but put it on a 7-year note and write it out because it ain't going anywhere. So,
and typically that guy too is the guy that's trading in the tractor he has. It's got 15 to 20% equity in, like, for down payment wise towards the machine they're buying.
Exactly.
In a lot of cases,
Yep. And those are the guys that can do it the easiest because their machine is paid off, so the whole thing goes to the bottom line, and then you start afresh with the other one.
Right.
The guy who bought a $250,000 tractor in 2020, or not even 19, it's hard to – that tractor hasn't gone up. And
well, it did while he had
his interest sure as hell has.
Right.
That's actually that's the harder one to flip is that guy that has the 5-year-old right now, if he didn't buy it new.
Right. The side effect of what you're talking about there is he bought it for $250. Had he traded it in 2021 to 2023, he probably would have gotten close to $325 for it, and now it's back down to $175.
I was going to say at least $275.
And now he's going to trade in his 2.9% interest rate for I don't know, whatever standard rate is now, 6.5% or 7%. So
crystal ball, a guy could have had traded his whole farm in 20 for new. Because especially if you would have waited, like, well, I guess we'll rent everything out this year because none of our stuff has shown up. If you could have, say you could have weathered that storm, or say you traded in 20 for 21s or whatever, the guy who did that, if you could have had some kind of crystal ball to do that, you just turned your whole farm brand new as cheap as you could have.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I think that's the other thing too, that when I talk to people about used equipment, especially tractors, I talk to them in the same sense I would talk to anybody about any other commodity that's out there. Right?
That's the most important word you just said.
Yeah, commodity.
Commodity.
Yeah,
it's a commodity. Trust me, I'm iron geek as a day is long, and I kissed that 4455 before I started every time.
Yep.
I am that guy. But guess what? Some bitches, it's a number. It is a number, and that's it. I just did my year-end stuff for the bank. Guess what? They don't care that that's a family member. It's a number.
Right.
And how much can you borrow against it? That's it.
And the thing about it, the price of used equipment, too, is that it's not a static number, right? It may be, it started out here at the first year, by the end of the year, it's down here, or you could see it elevate up. You know what I mean? It is not the only trade-in machines that have a direct correlation to what the new price is a machine that's probably within, I would, at the max, 3 years old. that have a direct correlation.
Yeah, and
that's a stretch. That's a stretch. It's really the 1-year-old machine is the one that has a direct correlator because that's what you're basing everything off of.
Even 2 years, you're getting
kind of spread out there a little bit,
right?
So you could easily build a model that says, hey, if a new one costs this much, a 3-year-old one should be somewhere in here. But after that, and you're talking like a very tight range in hours and all these things that come into play, you've got to keep that squared away and keep that in mind. Like when you're buying a 7-year-old tractor, a 5-year-old tractor, something like that, that's a totally different conversation that you're having than you would have something that if a new one costs this, then a 7-year-old or 5-year-old one should cost what? I mean, maybe there's an easy path that shows that shows, hey, this is X, Y, and Z should be this, but that fluctuation in those prices, especially when you start getting past 3 years old, is totally limited to supply and demand and what you see what the overall marketplace is doing.
Right.
And that's just where that's at. And typically a 5 to 7-year-old tractor,
your 3-year range, had you have done that in 2020, you would have left a lot of money on the table on the dealer side by lining it up that way because that was way out of whack.
Right.
Conversely, you do that right now, and you're super screwed the other way because the market ain't there.
Right. It's weird because you get that 1 to 2 year old stuff, and like I said, that's a direct correlation, maybe stretch it to 3, but really it's 1 to 2. That 3 to 4 year old stuff to me is kind of in a limbo land, right? I mean, it really depends on what it is, how many hours are on it, what the specs are, those kind of things.
Very much.
And then it's a different breed of animal right there. But then when you get to that 5 to 7 year old stuff, it's easier to maintain a more level kind of a more level playing field, more level value proposition, those kind of things.
Well, and once you get over that 5-year hump, a 780 and a 770 are pretty close in price. It's preference.
Right.
That's where after your 5-year, that's where that starts. A 370 and a 310. Pretty close in price for, compared to the new side.
Hours outweigh year and those kind of things where you start looking at that. I mean, if you're a 5-year-old machine and you've got 4 or 5 tractors sitting there and they're all within a few thousand hours of each other, but they're all, a myriad of a big mixture of years and stuff like that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's hey, this one's got 500 or less hours than this one does, or this one's got 1,000 more hours than that one does. But the one with 1,000 more hours on it might be a year newer than the one that has less hours. And it's just those kind of things start to kind of wash each other out a little bit.
Exactly.
Because, again, the customer you're talking with, they're going from a certain number of hours down to a certain number of hours, and that's what they're looking for. Right?
Exactly.
Now, you might through the negotiation process, like, well, that one's a 21, this one's a 22, and this one's got 1,000 more hours on it than that one does. So we should be talking, apples and oranges here, not apples and apples and that, so you got all that kind of stuff going for you. But it's the dollars and cents are pretty nominal. There's not a big mover there.
Yep.
But when you're stuck between that 3 and 4 year period, that's a transition period where
that's really
it's like a hump you got to get
the
over.
used side. That takes by far the most thought.
Yep, for sure. Right on. Well, end of the year, man, you got to have some stuff out there that's worth buying. If folks want to reach out to you and get some of that, where they can do
it. You can call me or text me 308-760-1193. I try to be fairly active on Twitter or X at Aaron Fintel, Aaron Fintel, and also on Facebook if you want to catch me there. A lot of guys I don't always throw stuff on Twitter, but a lot of the ag Twitter realm, if you will, knows that if I don't have it posted, shoot me a message and I probably got it. So reach out.
So check that out. Man. It'll be a good one. Aaron always has some pretty good stuff out there worth your time. So check it out. Anything else, Aaron, you want to throw out there for a close down?
Not that I can think of.
All right, buddy. Well, good talking to you. We'll catch you again next week, and we will go from there.
Right on.
All right, I'm Casey Seymour with Moving Iron Podcast. Check me out on Facebook X, and Instagram at Moving Iron LLC. Go to LinkedIn at Moving Iron Podcast. Check out the YouTube channel, which is Moving Iron Podcast YouTube channel. And you can go to TikTok at Moving Iron Podcast. Check that out there. Go to movingironllc.com for everything Moving Iron related. And with that, I am Casey Seymour with Aaron Fintel. Let's go to some iron, folks. Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Are you looking to value your equipment more accurately? Target the right buyers and close more deals? Reach your ideal customer? Then look no further. Fusable isn't just about ag data, it's about action. Our best-in-class solution empowers you to value your equipment accurately, make informed decisions, and find the perfect prospects. Ignite your dealership's growth at fusable.com/movingiron-podcast. Out in the field, every decision counts. You wouldn't plant without testing your soil, so why would you prospect blind? Introducing EDA, your one-stop shop for ag equipment intel. EDA goes beyond specs and prices. You get deep dive data on every piece of equipment like UCC filings that help track ownership changes and uncover potential sales leads. D&B firmographics, which help you understand the financial health and buying power of potential customers. Market trends that help you stay ahead of the curve, and insights on equipment demands and pricings. With EDA, you're not just looking at data, you're seeing opportunity. Find the right buyer, sell smarter, and build lasting relationships. Visit edadata.com for your free demo and unlock the power of knowledge. For over 80 years, Iron Solutions has been your go-to data source for ag dealers, lenders, and manufacturers. Get powerful appraisal and value forecasting tools that fuel profitable decisions anytime, anywhere. Get your free demo at ironsolutions.com. Iron Solutions, confidence in every click. Today, there are many ways to finance ag equipment, but nobody delivers simple, fast, or flexible financing like AgDirect. Learn more about your options to buy, lease, and refinance equipment at agdirect.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours.
When you partner with Axon, you immediately gain access to a full range of products and solutions designed to meet the complex needs of today's grower. We carry all major brands and sizes of tires and wheels. We specialize in large diameter wheels for large equipment. We have one of the largest OEM replacement wheel inventories in North America. Known for extreme flotation setups, duals, and triples, we have wheels for all makes and models of tractors, sprayers, combines, and grain carts. If we don't have the wheel in stock, we'll custom build, sandblast, and paint in-house. There isn't a more vast inventory in North America dedicated to helping dealers move more iron. With facilities on the West Coast and in the heart of the Midwest, leverage our 230,000 square feet of indoor inventory to solve any problem a grower may have. Move more iron with Axon.
At Big Iron Auctions, customer satisfaction is our #1 goal. As the 40-year leader in auctions for agriculture, real estate, livestock, construction, and transportation, we are here to serve you. Big Iron will handle everything from start to finish. From meeting with you, to prepping your equipment, writing the listings, and collecting buyer's payments, let us do the heavy lifting for you. We love our customers, and we treat them like family. There's a Big Iron sales rep in your area, so let's get together. To learn more, visit bigiron.com.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.